7.3 Darling FM. I am Paul the Magician.
And I'm Zanders Okeke Otiwa. Good morning.
Yes. We sincerely apologize for our inability to bring you the people's voice yesterday due to some technical issues that we had to deal with. Good thing we are back now. And we have the pleasure of hosting the Commissioner for Education in Imo State, Professor Bernard Ikegwaha, who is already completely seated in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. We're going to look at issues affecting primary and secondary schools in Imo State. We'll look at concerns raised by the National Association of Proprietors for Private Schools in Imo State. And of course, we'll talk about teachers' recruitment, welfare, and salaries. Commissioner, last time you were here, we talked about the fact that a lot of our public schools are in dire need of infrastructure and appropriate funding. And that was what led to, the talk about contracts being awarded and all of that. So let's begin by having you share with us updates on what the Ministry of Education has been up to since we last met, especially in the area of primary and secondary education in Imo State.
Thank you very much for actually having me. It is a wonderful experience every time. It's always been a wonderful experience every time I come to this Darling FM. One of the best, I must confess.
Whoa, thank you very much.
You are thorough, you are professional, so I like actually coming back here.
I'm going to celebrate that. It's not easy getting commendation from you. Thank you.
So, but this is the reality. Number one, as you are aware, before we came into office, the education system in Imo State was near collapse. Virtually all the infrastructure, particularly the buildings, were almost in very sorry state. The dilapidation was inexcusable. Most of the buildings had their roofs really taken off by winds, to the extent that most pupils and students would be praying to God every time it rained because they didn't know what was going to happen. As much as we could, and still can, we've been tackling some of them. And we have about 1,824 primary and nursery schools.
Wow.
We have 303 secondary schools. And all of them, before we came in, like I said, were in sorry state. And you can imagine the enormity in terms of funding to take care of all these number of schools that I've mentioned within 1 year. Understanding what we have gone through with COVID-19 pandemic. We were sworn in, as you are aware, in the middle of COVID-19, and subsequently we were closed for 8 months. 8 months of inactivity. As we resumed, not quite long, we got closed again. So in 1 year, I don't think we have opened for more than 5-6 months. Let's do the math. With 5-6 months, I don't know what you could have done, but we are doing our best. Here are the things we have done in education. First, we looked at Examination Development Center, and it was riddled with fraud, where in the past they would collect money for exams and never remitted it to government. I took a holistic approach in terms of instituting investigative panel or an inquiry or inquiry, as we say it here. And what we saw was a monumental fraud. We were able to correct it and removed the director then. Subsequently, I looked in all these were done with the approval of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Imo State, most distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma, who has been very magnanimous in really supporting everything I've done thus far, without which, it will not be possible. So I really want to thank him. After that, I delved into Secondary Education Management Board, SEMB. The same thing is there. Principals are I don't know what to say. There's something else. If you ask them to collect money for WAEC, 19,900, they'll collect 40,000. And even when they collect, the one that is supposed to be remitted to ANCOPS, which is a check-off fee, you can't even believe it. They'll collect it and never remit. So I looked into activities of principals. They will charge students money, collect. In fact, in the past, what happened was, depending on the population of the school, you paid certain amount of money to be posted as principal. Ikenebu girls, for instance, attracted 1 million naira.
Really?
Yes. Therefore, because they have about 6,000 students, you just need to charge students 1,000, multiply it by 6,000. So they have covered the 1 million they paid. So I looked into it and subsequently removed the Executive Secretary of Secondary Education Management Board. Those things made me, you know what I'm trying?
You became an enemy of sorts.
I became a persona non grata. But we don't give a damn, because I am born to do great things. And I'm number one to say I am not a perfect man. I'm a sinner.
But Honorable Commissioner, beyond removing them, were they prosecuted?
Let me just, then you can ask questions so that I don't lose my track.
Okay.
We went again looking at College of Nursing Sciences at Okporo Olu. Students there were paying more than what students at Afe Babalola pays. It was just a free-for-all. I also instituted an investigative panel to see into the activities of, in fact, when I started that, the then provost, she would say all manner of things, that I disrupted the exam, I did this. None happened. On my oath of honor, none happened. But it was just something to change the dynamics. But in the end, the Board of Internal Revenue, I asked them to go there and investigate. They have submitted their report to the governor. So I'm not privy to review it. But I can tell you, we are on the right track, because I've just removed the provost and put in a new one. Things are beginning to look good. And the day that happened, you could see the dancing of the entirety and totality of the student population. There are many more. But let me also get into these principles. I personally have visited 159 schools out of 303. And in each case, I get my information, I go in there, verify that what I have heard was the truth. I have demoted 21 principals and made them classroom teachers. It did not detract them from doing what they are doing. This year, for instance, because in the past, WAEC would be 17 or 19,000, they would charge 40, 50,000. So this year, they brought in about 30,000 to be paid for WAEC, and WAEC was just 19,950. Some of them are still taking, in fact, there is one that we investigated. I gave money in Olu to go and pay the real amount. They said she won't register unless she paid certain amount of money. Caught on tape. How was 45,000 naira instead of 19,900? And when these things are happening, people will think, I told them to collect the money for me. And I make bold here today. I have never asked any person to collect money from me. This is something that has happened in the past and will not continue to happen. And in this payment, there is what we call check-off dues for ANCOPS, Association of Proprietors of Private. No, ANCOPS is all conference of principals of public schools. ANCOPS. Now, last year they deducted this money, but individual principal refused to remit that money, running into millions. at least about 5 or 6 million that is supposed to go to them. They are insisting on not remitting it. For what? You've already collected this money. And that's one of the problems. So most principals have been removed, and more will be removed, particularly those who have collected money but did not remit it. We will really, really give them query and transfer them punitively. Having said that, examination results at EDC, you can't believe it. Contracts were awarded in the past, particularly during the era of Rocha Sokorocha. And many schools did not get their result. First school living certificate for 4 years consecutively. No result. But children took the exams. So what we have done, those contractors who are doing this, I wonder how you can give somebody a contract for a job not done. The following year, you give the same person. The following year, for 4 years. So what I've done was I removed that person and the contract is awarded to another person. They are coming after me. I'm not bothered at all. Now, you may agree with me that we need teachers in both primary and secondary school.
We're coming to that.
You are coming to that.
We're coming to that.
Let me give it to you right away. Right. Because if you look at the ratio of teacher to student, it's about 1 to 25. It's not feasible. But when you go to so many schools, you will see only 6 teachers teaching the population. And we looked at it. Towards the twilight or the end of the administration of Governor Rocha Sokorocha, he hired massively over 300 and something education officers. Almost all of them, every one of them who read education, they were supposed to teach. But since then till now, many of them are married, they're living in Dubai, in London, and collecting salaries.
I don't understand. They were employed to serve Imo State here.
But they are everywhere. They don't come to work. Then I asked the question, how many education officers do we have? They said about 300 or something. Where are they? So we wrote them to all return. And what did I do to save Imo State government money? I now posted 300 and something of them to go and teach in secondary schools. Are you with me?
Yeah.
That will save us a total of about 78 million a month if we were to hire new ones. But we have these people already in the payroll of government. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, we get you.
So what I did was take these people we are paying, doing practically nothing. Send them to secondary school, still earning their salary. And since I did that, phone calls that have come to me from high and low. People calling that I should return them back to the ministry.
What are they doing in the ministry?
If I tell you people who have called me, you will not believe it. And I'm asking, if these people don't go to teach, who will teach? Whose children are going to be taught? Is it not your children and my children?
Yes.
Are we not saving money? We say we don't have teachers, and now I've posted teachers to schools. And we are saying, this is my sister, this is my nephew, this is my niece, return them. Return them to do what?
To just sit in the office or wherever and collect money from government.
So I just want people to understand.
Well, it seems you're in shock.
I mean, so much unpacking from the commissioner. I'd rather listen and learn more from what's happening in the Ministry of Education in Imo State. So,
now, the second one, another one I want to say is about first school living certificate, which we call UBIT, BESE, which we call Junior WAEC, and ultimately UBE GPT, which we call Common Entrance. What is obtainable everywhere is this. You must take Junior WAEC in order to take Senior WAEC. But what Association of Proprietors of Private School will do is that they conduct their own exam and do not allow these students to take Junior WAEC. What we have done now is, because Junior WAEC is now ongoing in terms of registration, if you did not take Junior WAEC, we will not allow you to take Senior WAEC. It's done everywhere. Abia, Anambra, Rivers, everywhere except Imo State. By so doing, because when they pay this money, the revenue of the state increases. They are not paying it to me, into my pocket. Every payment, and I challenge every person on radio, and I've said it severally here. Yeah. If you have given me a bribe of 1 naira since I came in, please come to Darling. I've said it repeatedly.
Yeah. That's true.
Come to Darling FM. Let's sit down and you tell me how, when, where. I earn my salary. And I'm a sinner. I've always said it. I'm not perfect. But there are things I don't compromise. Not that I'm a millionaire. I hope you are getting what I'm saying.
Yes.
So these are some of the realities. They are more or less interested in making money at the detriment
Of the state.
of the state. So what we have said this year, if you do not register junior WAEC in private schools, we will not allow those students to register for WAEC when the time comes, because you must present the junior WAEC certificate for you to ascend to senior WAEC. Consequently, Ministry of Education that is saddled with the responsibility of supervising all private primary, nursery, and secondary school is emphatic. I'm being specific that from now on, of course, junior WAEC, the registration is ongoing.
It's ongoing, yeah.
Go and register, because we will be the one posting students to private schools, as is done everywhere. When we do that, we have uniformity of standard. Because most often times they conduct their own internal exam that is worth nothing.
All right. Commissioner, you have to hold your thought here.
Okay, please.
We're due for first commercial break.
No problems.
When we return, we'll continue to learn more from the Ministry of, from the Commissioner of Education, as far as primary and secondary education is concerned. Stay tuned.
107.3 Darling FM.
The People's Radio.
If you don't know the transfer news, you might tell your friends your team has the top striker.
What are you talking about?
If you tell your friends your team has the top striker, they might loudly disagree. If they loudly disagree, the whole viewing center might get involved. If the whole viewing center gets involved, you might lose the argument. If you lose the argument, you might kick the floor in frustration. Before things get out of hand, settle it with Google search. Get the latest football news, live scores, transfers, probabilities, and so much more on your Google app.
Please, sir, how do I get to Retire Well Crescent?
It's easy. Just go straight on longitude 155. Take a 360-degree turn, then traverse on the trajectory. And bam, you enter the streets. You can't miss it.
At Stambik IBTC Pension Managers, we believe that preparing for the future should be easy. Email switch to pensionsolution@stambicibtc.com and let our experienced managers help you get started. Stambik IBTC Pension Managers, a member of Standard Bank Group.
Oh my ego not for you. Hello?
Casey, baby, how far now? Shall you go free this Sunday? I won't spoil person picking.
Hey, which Sunday?
This one now.
I know day.
Sunday after I'm gone.
Every Sunday, I no go free.
Waiting happen.
You mean say you don't know? New season of Nigerian Idol don't land.
Yes, sir. Nigerian Idol don't land. Better singing competition with talent wey sabi and plenty drama from the judges. Una go fit watch weekly shows from March 28th and every Sunday for Africa Magic Channel 2 by 7 p.m. sharp. So run, recharge your GoTV subscription on top my GoTV app or USSD *288# to enjoy yourself. Na Techno Mobile and Biggie Drinks bring on this season of Nigerian Idol. GoTV, love it.
Yes, I won it. Oh my gosh. Guys, since I joined Biggie Bet, I've been cashing out steadily. You don't mean it. Look at you. Let me tell you, they offer bigger odds, 315% accumulator bonus, got one bonus, and you can even cash out anytime, whether in the shops or online. They also have the best virtual games and jackpots. You see, they even pay winnings instantly. Guy, choose bigger rewards. Visit www.biggiebet.com to claim your 120% welcome bonus now. Biggie Bet, bigger reward, bigger life.
The BBC News World Service app makes listening to your favorite programs on your phone even easier. And for times when you can't use Wi-Fi or data to listen, just hit the call to listen button in the middle of the screen.
This is the BBC World Service.
Call to listen is only available in selected territories. For dial-up news services, standard geographic mobile charges will apply. Please check with your provider for exact cost before calling. Download the BBC News World Service app from your usual store.
One expert don't land with big ogbonge odds and sharp cash out method. You will like sports. This now your big opportunity to make better money on top all your bets. Where be bigger rules. My Niger people, I beg, make una no sleep on this one. Make you rush now. Go visit our website on oneexpert.ng. Don't forget to use the promo code BETNG and you go get 200% bonus on your first deposit. One expert. Bet we're there for everybody.
You know that you have the right to quality broadcasting. The National Broadcasting Commission says any person, group of persons, or organization aggrieved by the content of a broadcast or the conduct of a broadcast station may lodge a complaint to the station and or write to the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, number 20, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Asokoro, Abuja, or send a mail via info@nbc.gov.ng. Please ensure that your complaint includes name of the broadcast station, title of the program, date and time of broadcast, and essence of the complaint. Also, remember to include your name, address, telephone number, email, and append your signature. Note that your complaint must reach the NBC within 14 days of the queried broadcast. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
Please, sir, how do I get to Retire Well Crescent?
It's easy. Just go straight on longitude 155. Take a 360-degree turn. Then traverse on the trajectory. And bam, you will enter the streets. You can't miss it.
At Stanbic IBTC Pension Managers, we believe that preparing for the future should be easy. Email switch to pensionsolution@stanbicibtc.com and let our experienced managers help you get started. Stanbic IBTC Pension Managers, a member of Standard Bank Group.
Luxury building and accessories. Original Tyson. Building and Accessories Limited. Ebrula Butano Budanyo. Italian chip coated roof tiles. Bobamba Italian roof tiles. Eta Kuchenulo. Oh, Katara. Asuna di Borota on Kenele Casina Mirina Mumaya. We also came through Italian stone coated roof tiles. Get the Luxury Building and Accessories Limited name with Taranye. Oh, they are not getting up. Galaxy roof tiles. Yana luxury roof tiles by Feru. Oh, we have a banking tiles. Oh, when it's Marapuriche. Oh, the fake Kuyanulo. Oh, the Yanaro. Oh, Quakaya Walimuya. Oh, the Hegatapuya. Oh, Parakonga. Kidebo Bakaya. Oh, no Kamu. Kobuno Kemiri no yi. Okay, the Karo Kido to Pesere. How are you another shingle? Bond, Classic, Shake, Roman, Milano, Tiza, Slate. No, they just on the teacher. Call ya the Gatari Atario. 070-40-333-333. Katara. Italian stone chip coated roof tiles.
If you don't know the transfer news, you might tell your friends your team has the top striker.
What are you talking about?
If you tell your friends your team has the top striker, they might loudly disagree. If they loudly disagree, the whole viewing center might get involved. If the whole viewing center gets involved, you might lose the argument. If you lose the argument, you might kick the floor in frustration. Before things get out of hand, settle it with Google search. Get the latest football news, live scores, transfers, probabilities, and so much more on your Google app.
107.3 Darling FM.
The People's Radio.
It's 9:30. No, not yet. 27 minutes actually past 9 here on 107.3 Darling FM. Today's edition of The People's Voice will be listening to the Commissioner for Education, Professor Bernard Ikegwaha, share with us what the Ministry of Education under his leadership has been up to. If you're just tuning in, I bet you've missed quite a lot because, man, we have been receiving a lot of information of sharp malpractices on the part of school proprietors, principals, and
even heads of some parastatals under the ministry.
Exactly. You will have your opportunity to respond to some, or if not all, that the commissioner has said. However, we're going to run through some of the questions that we have for you.
If you can just give me a minute, I want to say one or two things so that you can open it up for questioning.
Okay. So
the one I want to say is about HMs.
But you keep it to 1 minute.
Yes,
so we really
HMs.
have to maximize our time now.
Okay, HMs.
Yeah.
headmasters or headmistresses. First school living certificate is 2,900 naira. There are handling charges we're giving to teachers, the HTMs and all whatnot, and AEEs. So in the end, they are to collect only about 2,600. But you know how much they are charging? 6,000, some 7,000 instead of 2,000 something. And it's general. They hold 27 local government areas. If you ask this, he said the other one is doing it. What did I do? Just last Thursday, which is every person is calling, all the HMs in Imo State, they have all been transferred. All of them. Without excluding none. Option, which is an association of school teachers and HMs, I've transferred all of them. And everybody, because if I transfer one or two, it will look like I'm selecting somebody. And the same call is coming from. What I don't know is when you transfer somebody, people you expect to not to call, they are calling and abusing you. Why did you transfer my niece? Why did you? There's no personal agenda. The agenda is Imo agenda.
Let's look at your approach, because some would ask, are these people not tenured? The people heading these offices, doesn't it need maybe a board to actually decide who should be transferred or not? You know,
I'm the head of the board.
Okay.
In organogram is the commissioner before the board, and the board has not been constituted.
Oh,
so
okay.
I am in charge with the INSUBEB chairman and the secondary education management executive secretary.
I want to specifically raise the concern by Chief Theo Mbakwe, that's
yes.
the president.
I've not even talked about NAPS. I need to talk so that the concern can be addressed here.
Okay.
I've not talked about NAPS.
Okay.
Let me talk about NAPS, if you can give me 2 minutes.
All right,
all right then.
NAPS. What I want to talk about NAPS is this. One, NAPS.
That's the National
Association of Proprietors of Private Schools.
Right, yeah.
I have invited them 10 times. 10. They were belligerent. I left them. Before we sent monitors to go to schools and find out whether standards have been met, because there is a handout that they have. It's called Guidelines for the Establishment of Private Schools in Imo State. They are all listed. And some of them, I don't know who were the commissioners then, they got their approvals through the normal mago way.
Without recourse to the standards
yes,
or the guidelines.
Exactly. So every time I told them we were going to send monitors to go and see what they are doing, they would refuse. Finally, the last one I told them, because they were complaining that our monitors were doing this, we are doing that. But every month when they leave, I ask them, make sure there is a video of what you are doing. There is a school at Waterside here in Owerri, owned by the Catholic Archdiocese of Owerri. That priest went and lied to every person that needed to be lied to. But guess what happened? When I showed the video to the executive secretary of education of the Archdiocese of Owerri, he came begging, because the priest is not supposed to be a priest. Oh, the vulgarity and what he did, in fact, he wanted to slap somebody. We sealed the school. It's not supposed to be functional. They have never even applied for approval, ever. Never paid anything, ever, since those schools were handed over to them. The same thing with NAPS. Here are the points. When I got them last, I showed them 54 fake, forged approvals and certificates, and most of them members of NAPS, who forged certificate of the approval of the schools they are operating. I have given it to Statesman yesterday. They said they will publish it today. If they didn't publish, they will publish tomorrow. And I have another 58 coming, fake approvals and certificates. I showed it to Theo Mbakwe, who is the same president. Now, there are some things I have to tell you. There are conditions for approval of private schools. There are conditions. But what is so significant is also that Ministry of Education is the only one saddled with the responsibility of looking at standard, making sure. Now, another thing I want to say, which Theo has, because I gave it to him, I invited them to show them these fraudulent activities by their own members. You see, they are executive, and their executive members are the one forging approval. Is going to be in statesman, so that every person will see is transparent. Now, some had receipts paid into banks, Fidelity and all whatnot, 2009, 2006. What did they do? Because renewal is every year. Every year they photocopy that same deposit slip and write renewal for 2010, renewal for 2011 till 2020. We found it out.
How did you find it out?
Because the serial number of every slip, deposit slip you pay in a bank, there is a number.
Yes,
it's the same number that is running all through.
Wow.
How do we live this kind of life? Now, Theo, as of now, National NAPS is factionalized. I don't even know whether Theo, because they've given him vote of no confidence. They wrote me. The reason being that when I became Commissioner for Education, he asked his members to contribute 60,000 they were using to go and pay courtesy call to the commissioner. And they have over 4,000 schools. You can imagine 66,000 times 4,000 or so. How much? When I heard of it, I personally called Theo. I said, please, stop collection of any money because I don't want any person to come and pay me courtesy call with such an amount.
You called him?
I called him.
Okay.
So now what happened? I said, if you are coming for courtesy call, I don't drink alcohol and I don't like sugar. Come with water. Only, which they did. So in one of the meetings, let me tell you this, so that you know what Theo is. In one of the meetings, I called the NAPS. I now said it. Here, I did not collect kobo for this courtesy call you who came about 5-6 months ago. This is what I told you. They were shocked. They went home and so many other things and gave him vote of no confidence. So every meeting we are calling now, the regional, which is Southeast, NAPS, will send 3 representatives, not you.
All right.
Now, finally,
okay.
During the WAEC thing, Entraco and NAPS in conjunction went and collected certain amount of money as certificate they will give to private schools to have fumigated. I said Entraco had no business in the Ministry of Education, that money must be refunded into Treasury single account. He managed to refund about 200,000-300,000 into Treasury single account. The remaining are still with them and Entraco. You can't come to Ministry of Education and balkanize it. And finally, I want to say this. For the first time in the history of Imo State Ministry of Education, we have a website, and today we have an internet radio that is on trial. A pilot, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Which means we will be teaching our students online with this. And is IMC, imoeducation.apk. These are some of the things Imo State Ministry of Education is going to have a radio, but it's an internet radio where you can disseminate to every part of the world. All you need to do is to have your...
The schools in the rural area...
No, but it's free.
Do they have facility for internet?
Right now, we don't have at all.
Okay.
So this is what we have now.
All right.
Okay.
You know, time is always...
Quite so much that you want to talk about.
There are many, but, because of time,
I'm even going to suspend the questions I have so that we can allow Imolite to respond to some of the things you've said. Because
please feel free.
Meanwhile, Chief Theo Mbakwe, if you've been listening to us, we would like to talk to you.
Please let him be on phone.
Voice. Yes, so that you can agree with what the
let him be on phone.
Or debunk.
Get him on phone.
He raised some specific issues. One of which is the manner with which men from the Ministry of Education goes to schools in a commando-like style and harass school proprietors in presence of school children, you know, in the name of trying to enforce compliance and check. And there are even allegations that they collect monies ranging 50,000-60,000 naira as penalties, which receipts are not issued for.
And probably doesn't go into government coffers.
Exactly. So it's one of the allegations.
It's good to allege, but whosoever alleges must do what? prove.
Okay.
Now, Theo has never come to me to say this and that happened. Then I'll show him the video.
All right.
The video is every school I went to. That's my instruction. That you must video from the time you entered to the time you come out, and they don't know it. I have it.
We have school proprietors corroborating what you has said. So
okay, I'm happy you say.
Yeah, we do.
We have video. I have video of everyone
and the names of the schools. However, we're going to take calls now, but I know that this conversation will not be complete if you don't address the issue of teachers' salaries.
Okay.
I mean, so even as
okay.
of last
I'm ready.
Let's take some calls first.
I'm ready to address it now.
I know once the calls start
coming,
we
could take some.
I am ready to address it here now.
Towards the end.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take calls then.
If not, they will be accused us of not allowing them to talk.
Please.
So. And if we're to start from the comments on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Ugu?
Ugwe
Zumba. Umwachuku says, "Good morning, Darren FM. From what I'm hearing, I think Professor Bernard is getting it right. Sir, you are really dealing with corruption in our education sector. Keep up, and may God strengthen you. Please, sir, I really want to know more about the relocation of Imo State Polytechnic. And why is it that teachers in Imo State don't receive their gratuity after service?" These are
okay. Just
okay.
Note that down. Another comment here.
Can I have a paper?
Please give him a bio. This from Okoro Donchuk, who says the teachers in Imo State are not paid. Why wouldn't they be corrupt? No school board, no light in the classrooms, nothing meaningful in the public school. So that's another angle to look at the reason why people are corrupt. Okay, let's have here also Okoro Bernard is also okay. This Okoro Donchuk also saying, please, can you allow your children to attend any public school in Imo State? Junior WAEC certificate, he says, is meaningless, so you cannot use it to get a job. Okay, I think he's responding to what you said about making junior WAEC compulsory. Honorable Vincent Adeshola Jr. says, please, I want to know from the commissioner why superb contractors have not been paid up until now. Those contractors are really going through hell at the moment.
While Dan Ohajunwa says, I don't know why some people are unteachable. Please, we support you, Honorable Commissioner. Go ahead and sanitize the sector. If not any other thing, the educational system here in Imo, personally, I know what you can do. You don't compromise.
And one more thing you take note of, got message here saying students that represented Imo State during a football competition in Abuja were allegedly abandoned by the Office of the Commissioner for Education. And this person wants a response on that. Okay, so
quite a number.
Can I answer those?
Yes, quickly.
So number one, Imo Polytechnic, University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. We have appointed a vice chancellor, a bursar, registrar, and the principal secretary. We just interviewed them. Myself and a group of professors, we interviewed them. Very soon the letters of appointment will be issued. But we've already issued the appointment letter to the vice chancellor, Professor Ebulie. Now, as a result, Imo Polytechnic, is still at the premises where they are, which is today Imo State University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. Now, the Imo Polytechnic is ready in Olu, completely ready, and they will transition in July, August, in readiness for the next academic year. Everything is put in place, the administrative block, the hostels, everything is ready. What they are doing now is asphalting the road network of the place. So that one is taken care of.
Okay.
Then teacher salary.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that we are talking of teacher salary because for good 1 week, the list and names of all those people who say they have not gotten salary were published in Statesman. Anybody who said he did not see it is a liar.
What date?
I don't have it offhand.
Okay.
But for 1 week, the list, because the governor said it and it was published. If you have not been paid, you will see the reason why you have not been paid. And any person listening to me can go to Statesman and request for those newspapers.
That's your name and the reason why you've not been paid.
Exactly.
Shouldn't they be going to the Ministry of Education for such
we pasted it. Look at what you paste something now.
Somebody will come check.
They will just tear it.
I mean, come on.
I'm telling you the truth.
I took it off his mouth.
You know, you took it off my mouth. Somebody would just go and tear it. So we decided to, just like what I'm talking about now, it's going to be in the newspaper, Statesman. So people go there and read. If I'm lying, you read there. You see the names of schools that have forged certificate, approval and certificate. You see the names of schools that used one deposit for 10 years. They are all published there for people to see. So that you don't take my word for it, you see it practically. So that's what happened. If any teacher has not been paid, please go to Statesman. At least they should have a backlog of the newspaper.
Yes,
you collect it, see the reason. The moment you correct that reason, you'll be paid. Those who have been paid, who are receiving the money, they are receiving money up to now. The only month they are owed is this month of April. And April is not finished. The third one is, would my children go to any of these schools? Yes, the answer to an extent is no. The reason is not ours. The fault is not ours. We're just 1 year in office.
So there's work to be done.
The day somebody dies is not the day the process of dying started. We all are dying gradually by installment until the last day. So what I'm saying in essence is this. You know, Achiku Denwa ruled for 8 years. Ohakim ruled for 4 years. Okorocha ruled for 8 years. Right Honorable Meki Hedron ruled for 7 months. Aggregate this. That's when all this decay started. And I am doing my best. The governor is supporting me in any way, shape, or form. And of which I'm eternally grateful. So we can't finish all these jobs in 6 months, because remember, we had pandemic for 7 months.
More than throughout last year.
Throughout last year. So
let's
give me time, I will deliver.
Okay.
And your children will now attend public school.
Well, my children are all 36, 35. So they are already graduates, medical doctors. So
we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
But they didn't, the contractors and this thing.
Good morning. Please, you will go straight to the point, sir.
Thank you for the elaborate explanations you've made.
Yeah, you have 40 seconds.
The school system so far in the state. I will encourage you to do more. But Commissioner, there's something that is bothering me so much. Incidentally, I'm privileged enough to have one of my children in one of the secondary schools in Imo State. And I can tell you that the day I had the privilege opportunity of visiting the school, I discovered that this compliance with COVID-19 rules is hardly there at all. The students are moving about with nobody on face mask, and the congestion is too much. I begin to wonder what is happening.
Okay, so no COVID-19 compliance. That is what our first caller is saying in our schools. All right, taking note of.
Can I answer?
No, not yet.
Okay. Let's take another call.
Yeah.
Hello,
good morning.
Good morning, Paul and Zanta. Good morning, the Honorable Commissioner for Education. Onye is the logo, the voice of Mbise.
All right, go on.
You see, on the issue of what I want to say, the private schools that don't have any built playing facilities where children can be played and they exercise themselves, the school should be closed. I believe it's not being welcomed in the state. That's my take. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. No playground for students, especially in private schools.
It's part of what I was saying.
Don't worry. Hold your thoughts.
We'll react to all of this.
Yeah. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Richard.
Darling FM, yes.
What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Awuja from Nekede.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Honorable Commissioner, sir.
Yes, I'm listening.
A lot of free school living certificates have not been released to their owners or to the appropriate school for the owners to collect. What effort are you making now to see that the owners get their certificate? Secondly, what are you doing to see that the dilapidated schools are rehabilitated? Thank you and God bless you.
Okay. He has answered the first question. However, you reiterate.
Okay, let me talk about private schools. I said here, I don't. If you go to Douglas, towards the end, you will see schools that are second and third floor. The ground floor are businesses, shops. It's part of the guideline. You cannot open. No, in fact, any person who gave that approval, we must examine his or her head as a commissioner for education. And another thing is that no school can be opened in a residential area. Go to most estates, you will see all schools there sharing wall with people. The reason is because these girls going to those schools are vulnerable. somebody can corner them, take them, before you know it, they are pregnant. The rules says you cannot, and that's what we are going back to the original guideline.
So schools are going to lose their licenses?
We're going to close them and tell them, relocate to any other place. We give you license. And we give you a number of months to operate within that transition. If it is 6 months, if it is 1 year, you didn't do, we will close you finally down.
Okay.
The rules must be obeyed. If we choose which rule to obey, then we have no state. Then the other one is the question he asked about superb contractors not being paid.
Yeah.
We have said those superb contractors will not be paid. Because I went to UBEC myself a couple of times and I met with the executive secretary. They have complained, and what the executive secretary said, we should go to Bureau of Public Procurement of the federal, that they will not use the Bureau of Public Procurement and Price Intelligence of Imo State. Since federal government has 50% and we have 50%, guess what? We have gone to Bureau of Public Procurement at the federal. We have gotten it that they did not follow due process. So before they were saying it was only Imo State Bureau of Public Procurement and Price Intelligence, not federal. Today we have that of federal. That contract was awarded without following due process. And we cannot, let me repeat, we cannot.
But we also hear that the state is losing out in getting the next.
That's not true. We have paid the counterpart funding up to 2020. It's not true. Talk is cheap. Facts are sacred.
And you've received.
And I have the papers.
The money from
yes.
UBEC?
Yes.
So the accounts are not frozen?
No. Who said that? There was a time it was frozen, but it's been reopened because of the activities of these people. And the executive secretary said it was frozen because we did not get the certificate of no objection from the Bureau of Public Procurement of the federal. We've gotten it. It's been reopened.
All right. What are your thoughts?
So, which other one? The COVID,
we'll hold your
the
thoughts
football.
there. We're going for a quick break.
We'll respond to the football.
I'm ready.
And let's take some commercials. We'll be right back.
107.3 Darling FM.
The People's Radio.
If you don't know the transfer news, you might tell your friends your team has the top striker.
What are you talking about?
If you tell your friends your team has the top striker, they might loudly disagree. If they loudly disagree, the whole viewing center might get involved. If the whole viewing center gets involved, you might lose the argument. If you lose the argument, you might kick the floor in frustration. Before things get out of hand, settle it with Google search. Get the latest football news, live scores, transfers, probabilities, and so much more on your Google app.
Make your life better with BBC News Pidgin. To get better for this world, you suppose know wetin dey. Make better tori ginger you from your domot to the whole world. Because when you see every for the world, anything dey possible. Make your life better. Search for BBC News Pidgin.
Good morning, my neighbors. How are you doing? Who be that one for this early moment now? James, it is I, Johnny. I beg, I no get money to borrow you again. Be calming down. No need for that because I found more ways to make millions this season. Johnny, my friend, yarn me better. Forget to, I don't get extra packet from Bet King. Where be say if I chop one, it could be like say I don't chop 10.
That's right. You can max out your winnings on Bet King with boosted odds and multiple bonus.
My friend, this is where you differentiate the king from the crowd. Just visit betking.com on any device and see for yourself.
Bet King, playground for kings.
Expressions without words won't have it any other way. Moments will feel joy. Been lost in the moment, the freedom you will find. That's what's celebrating. Bring your moment to life. Find the satisfaction in the nourishing trend and sparkling. Celebrate a little way, making big differences in the nourishing trend and sparkling.
Enjoy in red grape, white grape, peach variants, Valletta sparkling fruit drink. Celebrate every moment. Another premium product from Intercontinental Distillers Limited.
Please, sir, how do I get to Retire Well Crescent?
It's easy. Just go straight on longitude 155. Take a 360-degree turn. Then traverse on the trajectory. And bam, you enter the streets. You can't miss it.
At Stambik IBTC Pension Managers, we believe that preparing for the future should be easy. Email switch to pensionsolution@stambicibtc.com and let our experienced managers help you get started. Stambik IBTC Pension Managers, a member of Standard Bank Group.
Luxury building and accessories. Original Tyson.
Luxury Building and Accessories Limited. Ebrula Patano Bodanyo. Italian chip coated roof tiles. Bobamba Italian roof tiles. Eta Kuchenulo. Oh, Kajara. Asuna di Boroja on Kenele Kasina Mirina Mumaya. We also Kizuru Italian stone coated roof tiles. You can do Luxury Building and Accessories Limited name with Taranye. Oh, they are not doing Galaxy roof tiles. Yana luxury roof tiles by Feru. Oh, we have a Kedina tiles. Oh, when it's Marapuriche. Oh, the Fekuyanulo. Oh, the Yanaro. Oh, Kwakaya Walimuya. Oh, the Hegata Pumuya. Oh, Barakongwa Kebo Bakaya. Oh, no Kamu. Oh, no Kemiri no yi. Okay, the Karo Kito to Pesere. How many Yanodere Shingle, Bond, Classic, Shake, Roman, Milano, Visa, Slate. No, they didn't just on the teacher. Call Yadiga Chario. Equenti 070-40-333-333. Kajara. Italian stone chip coated roof tiles.
If you know Sabi transfer news, you fit tell your party say na your team get correct top striker.
What are you talking about?
If you tell your party say na your team get correct top striker, they fit shout they follow you argue.
No way.
If they shout they follow you argue, everybody for viewing center fit shook mouth for the matter. If they shook mouth for the matter, you fit fall your hand for the matter. If you fall your hand for the matter, you fit kick better the defense. Abeg, before you enter Yawa, settle the matter with Google search. Get the latest football news, live scores, transfers, probabilities, and anything wey concern football with your Google app.
ShopRite's baby promotion is now on, where you save even more on everything your baby needs. Buy any 2 Huggies disposable pants at 5,999 naira 99 kobo, or buy any 2 Mulfix baby pants at 7,999 naira 99 kobo. All prices valid till the 9th of May 2021.
For lower prices you can trust always.
107.3 Darling FM,
The People's Radio.
Okay, 5 minutes left for us to get as much as
3
we
minutes,
can.
you mean?
Yeah, 3 minutes. Kenneth Okere on Facebook says, good morning, sir. Why did you threaten to sack if any teacher goes on strike? Okay, so you're going to respond to that, Commissioner. Another comment here, Benedict Martin says, okay, this is MC Thunder. How are you feeling about the non-implementation of minimum wage in Imo State? And he also says, Governor launched school bags and books to take effect with immediate effect. Okay, take effect immediately. And since last year till now, nothing has been done about that. What happened, sir? Okay.
Engineer Prince Okechukwu says, good morning.
Wow, I have so many questions to
ask.
Exactly.
This one says, Honorable Commissioner, what is your office doing to address the poor standards of, I'm sure it's of schools in
but I've said that before.
Public schools? There it says parents don't longer send their children to public schools.
Private schools are not better either.
Ministry should employ teachers to replace the retired ones.
Okay. So, 1 minute to respond to these questions, and we'll take 2 calls and we'll wrap up.
Okay, the sports people. Now, the director of sports, the coordinator of sports in the Ministry of Education, notified us 24 hours to the day they were going for sports. 24 hours. Secondly, she brought a proposal for us to fund the trip to the tune of 9 million. I'm saying it boldly here. I looked at it, I said, 9 million for what? He wrote everything. And when I pruned it down to 3-point-something million, he now came back to me and said, Honorable Commissioner, past commissioners, what they do is that they even make it 15 million and collect 10 million. Why don't you allow it to go? I said, no, I am not ready to collect 1 naira. But give me the phone number of the president of Youth Sports Federation of Nigeria, which they gave me. I called in the presence of all the directors of the ministry. She now told us that is funded 100% by the federal government. And this is something that brought 9 million. Now, what happened was,
100%.
100%. The hotel was paid for. Everything was paid for. Quote me right. I can come back here. Quote me right. She said no.
It's an exposition.
Please approve.
You have work to do now. I mean, this information you can take up with the Ministry of Sport.
Yeah, so now what happened? They went, we gave them transport money. In fact, it was supposed to have left on a Thursday, but it was false. On a Friday, it was false. That call told me that because it was on a Friday, the children were in the ministry, hungry. I called when they told me this and said the arrival is on a Saturday, not on Thursday or Friday. I put them in a hotel. You write for approval of funds. You don't write in 24 hours and get approval.
That's true.
It's a process.
Okay.
So, to cut the matter short, I paid for their transport, their everything, the fuel, everything.
So they were not stranded?
They were not stranded. I have the receipts.
Okay.
The allowances is what they're calling. The approval has not come. If it comes, I give them the allowances.
All right.
There are many more.
Yeah.
Well, you just need to. You have just 30 seconds to give us your last.
All right. Please let me tell Imolites now. This is not a beauty context, and I know even if it's a beauty context, I'm not that ugly as not to come second or third. So wherever it is, I'm part of it. I'm an Imolite. After 36 years in the United States and Europe, I chose to come back here. And it's a privilege, and I remain eternally grateful to the governor of Imo State to have chosen me. All I'm looking for is a legacy and not money. If I have not made money at almost 63 by now, I should bury my head in sand and in shame. So I have not come here to make money. I've come here to render service and justify the confidence the governor had in me to choose me to be the commissioner for education from the array and galaxy of Imolites.
How can people who have complained, people who have questions and concerns because we could not attempt all...
The reality is that nobody goes to our website. The first time since 1976, I started a website for the ministry. It's interactive. They should go there and let complaints. It's www.ministryoфeducation.im for Imo State.gov.ng. You see there. Send whatever you want to say. There is email. There is even for you to pick an appointment to meet me.
Okay.
The time and everything is there.
Right.
It's the most functional interactive website ever.
Say that one website.
www.ministryoфeducation.im, which is for Imo.gov.ng, which is for Nigeria.
Thank you very much. And that is a wrap from the Commissioner for Education, Professor Bernard Ikegwaha. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, Paul, before we call it a wrap completely, let's send a birthday shout out to this awesome lady, Mrs. Fumi Iyonda, the marketing agent of Darling FM in Lagos. We wish you the very best. And from all of us here at Darling FM, we love you.
I am Paul the Magician.
And I'm Zanders Okeke Otiba.
Stay tuned for the news headlines. Good morning.